In this video, I'm compiling the ultimate list of tips and tricks for the Shattered Veil Easter egg to make every step a lot quicker and easier, and making the boss fight extremely easy. There are a ton of great tips in this, so I highly recommend you watch to the end to not miss a single one. Breaking it all down, there are a ton of mini quests that you have to do throughout this Easter egg. One of these quests involves shooting 4 plants around the map to give you 4 seeds with the Ray Gun Mark II. You can begin this quest immediately when you spawn in using a grenade launcher attachment on your loadout weapon. There are 2 potential spawns for these in the spawn room, and if you spawn with a grenade launcher, you can immediately shoot them and get the seeds on round 1. Not only can you do this with a grenade launcher, but you can also use any explosive equipment like a Semtex or a C4 to also get these seeds from these plants. So you can immediately look for these as you're opening up the map and shooting them with an explosive weapon or equipment, and collect all 4 seeds before you've even gotten to Pack-a-Punch, saving a huge amount of running around later. But you can also use Molotovs on these plants, as well as the Napalm Burst ammo mod on any weapon to get the seeds too. If you're playing the game with 4 players, then there is an incredible trick that you can do to all have over 75,000 points on round 3. If all players start the game with a profit sharing and raindrops gobblegum in their loadout, if everyone activates their profit share at the beginning of the game, and then one player pops their raindrops and picks up all of the drops, you'll all gain 33,000 points. Then if another player pops raindrops, picks up all of those drops, you'll then have around 40-odd thousand points. Then another player pops their raindrops, picks up all the power-ups, and then the 4th player does the same, and you'll have well over 75,000 points right at the beginning of the game. With so many parts required for this Easter egg, it's great to remember that when you're opening up to the elevator down towards Pack-a-Punch, that you can pick up 2 key items very quickly on. The first being the sconce, which is in the banquet hall in this cardboard box. And then in the study, you're going to be looking for the bell item, which is going to be somewhere around the SWAT 556 wall buy. If you're opening through here to get to Pack-a-Punch, just remember to search all around and pick that bell up as well as the sconce, so you've got it sorted for later in the game. Now, you can't get the free Ray Gun Mark II required for the main Easter egg until round 10 onwards, but you can still get 2 of the free ray gun canisters before round 10. One of them in the rear patio behind Double Tap requires you to use a Casimir grenade. But a huge tip is that you don't have to craft one of these, as you can get one for free every single game. If you make your way in the service tunnel to this zombie right here, in its hand will be an LT-53 Casimir. This is the only free one in the game, so pick this up and use it specifically to get this ray gun canister from the window, easy peasy. And the other canister requires you to use combat axes, but around the map there are multiple of these that you can get for free. One of them is in the garden pond here on this tree stub. Another can be found to the side of this bed in the nursery, and there is a third combat axe that can be found to the right of the Pack-a-Punch machine. Now, when attempting this step for the canister, if you go down to the mainframe chamber and look at the actual test chamber itself, the left of it on the wall will be the letter A or B, telling you exactly which gas valve you need to throw your tomahawk at in order to get this canister. So once you have the tomahawks, you just need to throw a tomahawk to that lower valve, and then finally throw your tomahawk at the letter that was next to the test tube. And once gas is coming out of that valve, you've done this correctly, and then you just need to use an explosive in order to break the glass to get that canister. Now, after round 10, down in the mainframe chamber will be this lab technician zombie that you take down for the floppy disk. Obviously, we take it to the fax machine in the east foyer, let it print off our word, and then go into the nursery and use the chalkboard to work out our code based on what the 4-lettered word was. And this code that we get is going to release a doppelgas, which on round 11, if you aren't too prepared, can be a little bit of a difficult challenge. However, if you look at this specific point in the elevator shaft once you've gone down it and shoot exactly where I do, it will spawn an insta-kill power-up that if you shoot and pick up, then quickly run to the keypad, put in your code to release the doppelgas, you will have an insta-kill to use against this thing to take it out super quickly. Bearing in mind, this is not a normal doppelgas either, it's an elite version, so that insta-kill is just going to make it even easier to take down. With the severed arm and the floppy disk, you can now get the Ray Gun Mark II and work on the 3 variants for the main Easter egg steps. The quest to get the Ray Gun Mark II-R involves you defending 4 individual toxic spore planters. Did you know you don't have to activate these planters one at a time? You can actually activate 2, 3, or even 4 at once. In a solo game, it's definitely advised to go ahead and activate the 2 planters that are upstairs, so they are both being harvested at the same time, meaning you have to defend both at the same time, which will save you a lot of time overall. And if you keep the final zombie in the round with yellow yellow eyes and then focus on keeping that alive whilst only taking out the purple-eyed zombies that spawns, you won't flip over to the next round. And once the 2 toxic planters at the top are done, you can then activate the 2 below at the same time, completing them both at once, giving you the toxic canister. Now, in order to complete the explosive canister quest, once you've gotten all 3 rocks raised with the abomination, you then have to prevent vermin from disrupting this energy siphon, and there can be a lot of zombies and enemies that spawn during this, but a very easy way to do this is to have 1 or 2 zombies left on the round, and then simply circle around the siphon in the middle, either clockwise or anti-clockwise, and just look around the edges of the map to take out the vermin that are spawning. This way, you're keeping this activity super calm, as only vermin will be spawning in, and it will be far less hectic than if you try to attempt this during the start of a new round or where you have a ton of zombie enemies present. And to get the 3rd and final light canister, there is a 3-part puzzle you have to solve in the Serpent Mound using Reflector glass. The logic to this puzzle is extremely simple, and I'll show you exactly how to do this very quick and simple every time. When you first enter the Serpent Mound and place both reflective glass pieces down and then the canister, the lasers will already be going directly into the first doppelganger statue, so all you need to do is just melee the crystal. The next puzzle is extremely simple, as all you need to do is melee that first reflective glass piece once, so it's now beaming up to the top of this cavern. Once that's done, run to the other side of the room and pick up the piece of reflective glass to the left of the canister, run up the cave and place the glass down in this laser point and melee it once, and the light beam will now be reflecting onto that second doppelganger statue. Now onto the 3rd and final puzzle, and all you need to do is melee that first reflective piece of glass once, and that's literally it. It will now be glowing onto that final doppelganger statue, which will spawn in an elite version of the doppelganger. And once taken out, that is that canister complete. This will then progress you into the Easter egg where you need to go ahead and complete each of the 3 portrait quests. But a very important step with all 3 of these is once you've activated the portrait portal, you have to go through it before you can complete any of that specific Easter egg quest. So in the case of the library, you have to go inside the portrait even for just a mere moment and then come back out in order for you to be able to see the items in Ether Shroud. Now, if you aren't familiar with all the spawns for this Easter egg step, you might be using Ether Shroud quite a few times, and it is quite frustrating if you use one of your charges and don't make any progress. But there is a small side Easter egg down by Pack-a-Punch which can actually replenish your Ether Shroud back every round during this step. This only spawns in whilst you are doing this specific Easter egg step, but if you come down to the maintenance chamber, there are 3 locations where you can potentially find a field upgrade canister. One of them can be right here, another can spawn on the opposite side of the room on this table in front of the computer monitor, and finally the 3rd location can be opposite Pack-a-Punch on this table. Once per round, check one of these locations and the field upgrade canister should be there. That will give you 1 free Ether Shroud charge. And with this particular step, in order to make this extremely easy, pop Ether Shroud with the extension augment on, checking the briefcase right in front of the portrait, and checking upstairs in the east foyer, and then running over to the overlook, where within 1 use of Ether Shroud, you should have been able to find at least one of these parts. With another Ether Shroud, be sure to check this table in the study, as well as the fireplace in east foyer, and the fireplace in the banquet hall. That is all the areas that you need to check in Ether Shroud, and you should be able to complete this step no problem at all. Once you've completed all 3 portraits, you are now Easter egg ready. However, there is a short side Easter egg that will guarantee you a free Wonder Waffle DG2 that is extremely useful for zombies in the boss fight, and there are tricks to make this Easter egg even easier. This can only be attempted once you complete one of the 3 portraits. But to activate it, you need to shoot these clothes under the bed that should be glowing with a purple smoke, and once shot at, the smoke will rise and disappear, going to the east balcony. This will now be a book lying on a chair that you need to shoot, and it will slowly rise up with a bunch of other objects orbiting around this book. To make this step super easy, simply use an explosive weapon like the war machine, and as you see in one shot of it, it is completely disappeared, and that step has been done correctly. The second location is a basketball just outside the map in Garden Pond, and not only is the war machine really good for this, but also the GS45 Pack-a-Punch, where they are now fully explosive pistols, and all you need to do is shoot underneath the smoke, not directly at it, and if done correctly, the purple smoke will now be moving forwards towards the mansion, where the final object will be a family portrait that, if you shoot, will spawn this purple glowing smoke again with objects orbiting around it. And usually this final phase is the hardest to complete, as it has a lot more health and a really small timing window to destroy the object once all the orbiting objects have been destroyed. But if you use the pistols or war machine and shoot directly at the ground below, you should have no trouble at all putting enough damage into the smoke for it to then disappear down into the bottom of the elevator shaft, where here all you need to do is just shoot at the smoke. If you hit it, the Wonderwaffe DG2 will fall out of the smoke. This is the best secondary weapon to run for the boss fight in solo or co-op, as it's amazing for taking out the hordes of zombies within the boss fight. But for your main weapon, you'll want to run one of the ray gun Mark II variant upgrades. Doesn't really matter which one, whichever you prefer. And for me, I love the ray gun Mark II W, as it has a really fast fire rate combined with double tap. Now, if you're going to the boss fight under round 25, the Mark II only needs to be double pack-a-punch to do enough damage. So if you're under that round, don't stress too much about building up the 30,000 to get that triple pack-a-punch. But before going into the boss fight, make sure you craft a chopper gunner score streak, as that is going to be extremely useful. Jumping into the boss fight, it is a pretty difficult boss fight, but there are a number of amazing tips that most players don't realize that will make this boss fight experience a lot easier. The first and most obvious is that the Z-Rex has 3 critical spots. It has its 2 glowing eyes, its mouth when it opens to vomit on the map, and occasionally its ribcage will be glowing, which if hit does the max critical damage of 24,000. One downside to the difficulty of this map is that there are no max ammo drops that you get during the phases. There is an ammo box in the boss fight, but it costs 10,000 points to replenish a ray gun Mark II ammo. With Vulture Rage, you will be noticing zombies that you take down will drop ammo, but you want to make sure that you're running the Parting Gift Major Augment, where Vulture Raid ammo drops give more ammo to wonder weapons, and instead of giving you a measly 7 bullets, it will now give you 28 bullets per ammo drop that you see on the ground, making it so you are going to be far less likely to need to buy ammo from that ammo box. Another boss fight tip that I don't see many people using is when the Z-Rex has finished a phase and jumps up onto the cliff, there is a small window of about 5 seconds where the Z-Rex isn't immune and will take more damage, giving you a few extra seconds to put some extra damage into him before he becomes immune and starts vomiting out zombies all around the map area. Now, this is a very easy boss fight to go down, but if you do go down with a self-revive, don't immediately use it. And the reason why is when you go down, you get 150 bullets in your ray gun Mark II to use at the boss to shoot without him or any zombies interfering with you, because you're in a downed state. This could easily get you through one of the phases with very little issue, as long as you pay attention to how long you have left on your bleed out bar before you hold down your button to self-revive yourself. You will lose some perks, unfortunately, but if you've brought in any gobblegums that give you perks, then you'll be able to get those back. Obviously, the aim is that you don't go down, but if you do, be sure to use this trick to your advantage. But a trick that I see no one use is that once you go down, make your way over to Richtofen on the cliff face, and he will actually throw down a self-revive kit for you. Not many people realize that Richtofen is actually an ally that helps you throughout the fight, where he will throw you armor plates if you're low, as well as throwing you equipment if you've run out of it, and self-revive kits if you go down on solo, which is absolutely huge. Now, during phase 3 and 4 of the Z-Rex boss fight, he learns a new move which normally costs a lot of people's runs, and that's when he starts moving around the arena a lot faster and headbutting into you, flinging you forwards. And it's very easy to get stuck into a pattern of him relentlessly headbutting you forwards that will equal a down. It sounds counterintuitive, but if he's hit you forwards, simply do a 180 and run in the opposite direction, as when you turn around and move in the opposite direction, he can no longer target you for a few seconds, getting confused. And once you're in the final phase, you'll want to put that chopper gunner score streak to good use, as using a chopper gunner in this final phase is almost a guaranteed boss fight completion, as it will either completely rinse his health bar all the way to 0 or get it extremely close to, when then you just need to put in a little more damage to finish up the boss fight and complete the Shattered Veils Easter egg. If there are any other tips that I didn't have in this video that you think the community would need to know, drop them down below in the comment section. But I really hope you found this video useful. If you you did at any point and you're here at the end, let me know if it helped in the comments and drop this video a thumbs up. I post helpful guides like this all the time, so if you want to make sure you don't miss another one, then consider subscribing and turning on that bell. Now you've got all of these tips at your disposal. If you need a full in-depth Easter egg guide in the Shattered Veil on how to complete every single step and boss fight, then why not watch this video on your screen right now.